everyone, my name is Emily Hussey, and in this edition of Human Rights Heroes, we focus on the incredible challenges facing North Korean defectors. I am joined today by Mr. Sung-Hak Park and Mr. Jung-Oh Park, North Korean defectors. Welcome.
네, 두 분 근무에 오신 걸 환영합니다.
Before we get into the interview, I want to highlight some of their background. Mr. Sung-Hak Park has worked tirelessly since his defection for the democratization of North Korea. He is the founder of the Fighters for Free North Korea, and due to his work in 2011, Mr. Park was the target of a foiled assassination attempt at the hands of a North Korean spy using a poison needle. Park is the recipient of the 2013 Havel International Prize for Creative Dissent, awarded by the Human Rights Foundation. He was also a speaker at the 2009 Oslo Freedom Forum. Mr. Park, thank you for your willingness to share your story. Mr. Jung-Oh Park, since his arrival in South Korea, runs an after-school program for North Korean defector students. This program provides free English lessons and other tutorial help for the students. He is also the founding member of the Send Rice Aid Directly to North Korea Coalition, a group that sends rice and USBs using plastic water bottles via the ocean into North Korea. Thank you for your willingness to share your story. So, what did you find most surprising about life outside of North Korea?
두 분께서 같이 질문하시게 되는데 북한을 떠나서 이제 외부 세계에 나오셨을 때 제일 놀랐던 점이 무엇이었는지요? 예, 두 분께서. 예.
그 제일 놀라운 건 너무나 북한에서 많이 이제 속혔다. 물질적 이런 것보다도
So for me, not so
완벽하게 속였다.
not so much the environment or the things that I saw or the material things, but for me the biggest surprise for me was I just realized how much I was fooled and how much I was brainwashed in North Korea, and I realized this is the greatest thing that I realized when I left North Korea.
북에서 얘기했던 그하고 그 외부 세계에서 본 거하고는 완전히 정반대인 걸 느꼈다.
And I feel similar as well. For me, I felt that what I was taught growing up in North Korea was so totally, completely different from what I actually witnessing outside of North Korea in the free world.
And how would you both say that the human rights situation has evolved over the past few years in North Korea?
그 북한의 인권 상황이 어떻게 그 변화가 있었는지 어떻게 흐름이 있었는지라고 볼 수가 있겠습니까, 두 분께서는?
이 북한의 인권 상황은 현재도 전혀 변화가 없어요. 서울에 온 지 18년 됐는데 18년 전이나 지금이나 똑같습니다.
I would say that there has been no change. Basically, I've been in South Korea now for the past 18 years, and I would say that during the 18 years, there has been no really change in North Korea in terms of the human rights situation in the country.
그 아버지가 하던 걸 아들 뭐 아들이 하던 걸 뭐 손자 뭐 이렇게 하면 좀 변화가 있을 줄 알았는데 전혀 변화가 없다고.
So for me, I felt like so many other people that this is a hereditary dictatorship where the father gave it to the son and the son to his son, and I expected some sort of change to happen with the son, the current leader, being given the reins of power, but obviously that has not happened. So in that sense, I too would say that there has been not much change regarding the human rights situation in North Korea.
And what would you say, what more can the international community do to help North Koreans trying to escape?
그럼 그 국제 사회가 어떻게 그 북한을 떠나고 싶어하는 주민들을 도와줄 수 있는지요? 예.
이젠 뭐 그걸 18년 전의 얘기인데 이제는 김정은 정권을 끝낼 때가 되지 않았나. 아직도 탈북자들 어떻게 구한다, 뭐 어떻게 해야 되겠습니다보다는 완전한 해결하자면 뭐 몇십 년 지금 걸렸는데도 못했는데 가장 깔끔하게 끝낼 수 있는 건 그 김정은 세습수령 독재 정권을 끝내는 게 동시시키는 게 체인지시키는 게.
I would say that this question was posed excuse me, many years ago, even 18 years ago, how can we help the North Koreans escape North Korea? But I would say, even though it's an important question, now there has been too much time that has passed, and I think the best way to help the North Koreans is not so much to help them escape, but to help them by basically, I would say, ending the Kim Jong-un dictatorial regime. I think that would be the best question to be asked and to answer, which is to help the North Korean people by ending the regime, the leadership of Kim Jong-un.
지금이 그 시기가 아닌가.
And I would add to that my answer would be perhaps now, right now, is that time period to end the dictatorship once and for all, instead of dragging this out for another few years or even decades.
How has the community of North Korean defectors and your work helped others adjust to life outside of North Korea?
그 지금 두 대표님께서 활동하시면서 그 서로 알고 지내는 그 탈북자분들이 어떻게 또 다른 탈북자들을 뭐 한국 사회에 적응하거나 뭐 인권 운동이나 뭐 그런 활동에 그 도움을 주이는지요. 그런 그 같은 활동하고 있는 그런 그 일을 하고 있는지.
탈북 북에서 오신 분들이 서울에서 북한 인권 활동을 하는 단체는 대략 한 30개 정도 존재합니다.
So there are about 30 North Korean defector organizations that are in Seoul, in South Korea.
그 단체가 물론 이제 사단법인 단체들이죠. 그 단체 장애재장위원회 하나로 이제 연합시켜 가지고 북한 인권 단체 총연합을 만들었죠.
So we felt that it would be better to unite all these different groups under one umbrella coalition. So last year we actually formed such a coalition, to work together with all these groups, separate groups together. So we did form this coalition so that we can work more effectively to help each other and to help the defector community in South Korea.
그래서 제가 작년 6월부터 총단체 연합 이제 상임 대표를 맡고 있는데요.
And so since June of last year, I became the director of this coalition.
이 단체 중에는 이제 전문 자기 이제 특이한 활동 목표를 갖고 있는데 북한에 이제 라디오 방송을 한다든지 또 저처럼 이제 애드볼룬으로 이제 삐라를 보내다든지 또 여기 저처럼 그 바다에서 여러 가지 쌀도 보내고 USB, DVD 이런 것도 보낸다든지 이런 여러 가지 북한의 정보를 들여보는 활동하고 있거든요.
And so these different groups have different goals and purpose and objectives. For example, there's a group that does radio broadcasting to North Korea. In my case, my organizations, we use balloons to send leaflets, information to North Korea. In the case of Mr. Park here, he uses the ocean using plastic water bottles filled with rice and USBs to send information to North Korea, and on and on and on. So these different groups have different goals and objectives, but we all work together for the ultimate goal of helping not only the defectors in South Korea, but also our brothers and sisters in North Korea.
이명박 박근혜 정권 시기에 다시 말하면 보수 정권 시기에는 이런 탈북자들이 활동에 대해서 북한 인권 활동에 대해서 도움은 주지 못하더라도 방해는 하지 않았습니다.
And so during the past two previous presidential administrations in South Korea, the so-called conservative administrations, even though they didn't outright help organizations like ours, they didn't prevent us from working.
문재인 정권, 좌파 정권이 들어서가 있고 지금 우리 북한 인권 탈북자 단체들이 거대한 위기를 만났죠.
However, since the more progressive President Moon came to power, many defectors feel, rightly so, that we feel that we are getting more and more restricted in our abilities and our activities to do our work, which also includes helping other defectors.
북한 인권 활동을 하는 걸 은근히 지금 탄압하기 시작했거든요.
And I fear that we will be punished, or we will be prevented from doing our work in South Korea soon.
그래서 저는 지난 18년, 길게는 18년, 짧게는 16년 동안 이제 북한 인권 활동 해왔는데 이런 탈북자들이 하고 있는 북한 인권 활동에 대해서 미 군부에서 관심 가져주고 대한민국 문재인 정권에서 도와는 못 맡고 있으니까 미국 정부 차원에서 또 국무성에서 관심 갖고 좀 도와주기를 간절히 바랍니다.
And so for groups like ours and other defectors, for us to help not only the people in North Korea but to help other defectors, I believe that the continuing support of the U.S. government is very crucial and important because many defectors feel that we may not be getting the support that we need from the South Korean government, unfortunately.
Okay. And in your opinions, what more can the United States do to promote human rights in North Korea?
그럼 지금 방금 미국 정부 언급하시는데 그럼 어떻게 미국 정부가 그 북한의 인권 개선에 더 참여하거나 더 도와줄 수 있는지요?
이건데 제가 미 국무성에 그 프로포절 넣었거든요. 국무성에서 진행하는.
Speaking of the question of how can the U.S. government help, I recently did submit a proposal, grant proposal for support for our activities to the U.S. State Department. So I think that's very important for the State Department to continue these types of grant opportunities for defect groups and other groups that are trying to do projects related to North Korean human rights improvement.
그랜트 자금이라고. 근데 지난 10여 년 동안 미 국무성에서 해왔는데 저처럼 진짜 북한에다 전단 보내고 비라도 보내고 여러 가지 정보 들여 보내서 북한에서 그것 때문에 북한 주민들에게 엄청 영향을 미치니까 저를 이제 2번 죽이려고 간첩을 내려보내서 시도했거든요. 그렇게 이제 중요한데 그럼에도 미국 국무성까지 북한 눈치를 보면서 우리 단체에 대한 제일 중요한 그런 지원을 안 해주더라고요. 다른 데는 말로만 하는 데서는 다 지원하면서.
So if I may just speak a little bit about my own organization for the past 12 years, off and on, I've applied for the support from the State Department, but for some reason, because of some see this as a controversial way of sending information to North Korea using balloons, the regime, North Korean regime, felt so threatened that they twice sent assassins or their supporters in the south to come and try to kill me, and because they feel that and it proves that the work that I do is a threat to the regime. But I hope that the State Department will see through the controversy and perhaps will have a change in attitude, and maybe they will support the balloon launching efforts of not only myself but other activists who may wish to take this route.
김정은은 끊임없이 행동했거든요. ICBM도 쏘고 이제 수소 폭탄도 터뜨리고. 근데 행동해야 되는데 근데 왜 여태까지 미국 행정부에서 행동하는 탈북자 단체는 전혀 이 예산 지원을 안 했는지, 또 이제 트럼프 행정부에서는 그렇게 전 잘못됐다 생각하는데 트럼프 행정부에서는 이제는 조사 사업이고 인권 조사 뭐 어떻고 북한 내부 정보 어떻고 이런 것보다는 이게 북한의 자유세계 정보를 들여보는 이런 단체 이런 활동에 행동하는 데다 이제는 조금 더 도움 줘야 되지 않느냐.
And so the Kim dictatorship, even going back to the father Kim Jong-il and now Kim Jong-un, he's been testing rockets, missiles, hydrogen bombs, nuclear testing, and I believe that there should be sort of a tit for tat or action for action type of response from the defective community, which we have been doing. But for us to continue doing that type of work, I think the Trump administration, the U.S. government, should perhaps pay more attention to thinking about giving support to groups like ours who are doing the very real work of sending information into North Korea.
Well, thank you for taking the time to be here today. Thanks again for tuning into this episode of Human Rights Heroes. We hope you'll tune in again and follow us on Facebook at state.drl.